out of the Virgin Mary statue outside of St. Mary's Church on Boston Road in Billerica, Mass. Not Billerica, but Billerica. A maintenance worker told police that the head and hands had been removed from the Virgin Mary statue sometime late Tuesday night or early Wednesday morning. Now, on Tuesday, Burlington police began an investigation after 3 statues were vandalized in a similar fashion at other churches. Billerica police said that they are aware of the Burlington, Massachusetts incident and other recent cases of vandalism across the state, and they are working to determine if they are connected. So now we've got some evil going around, defacing, decapitating, and dehanding, beheading. Well, it could be decapitating. So is it dehanding then? Well, it's beheading, so it'd have to be behanding. Because decapitation doesn't, because hands aren't a cap. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. But you have people out there, and this is really kind of sick. And look, I understand why you would be upset by it, because really the representation of the Virgin Mary represents Christianity. And to some extent, certain denominations like Catholicism, and a couple of other Protestant faiths. But, it's at the point where some people get so upset because they're replacing the actual Virgin Mary with these idols. And in some cases, people revere the Virgin Mother over the son that she birthed, who happens to be God himself, basically. So they're putting Mary above God. And I'm not bringing this up to get into apologetics, Christian apologetics. But I mean, let's be honest and understand that this whole notion of what they're doing, these vandals are doing, is that they're defacing and defrauding and debasing the entire Christian faith. And they're going after the symbol that is most prevalent to a good many so-called Christians, Virgin Mary. She's the mother of this whole thing, if you will. Without Mary, God would have had to do it a different way. But it leads to the point, who would do such a thing? Why would they do something so basically evil? They may not be dangerous to humans. I mean, I don't know if they're murderers or not, or potential murderers. They could be. And I don't know how dangerous they are to humans. But let's face it, they're evil. And this whole story led me to this headline. And funny, it's in the advertiser. I'm not exactly sure what that is, actually, but the AdelaideNow.com.au, Australia. Out of Australia, Exorcism is making a comeback. And big news, worldwide. Now, you start seeing all this stuff happening with with all these wonderful people that we know and that we've loved throughout the years that are passing away, getting off this rock that we call Earth. We see all of a sudden this proliferation of defacing religious-based statuary. And now we get this story where exorcism is back. Are people being possessed? Is that the problem? Are people being possessed? Can people be possessed? I guess is what some people would ask. Can people be possessed? I don't know. But exorcism is back from the courtrooms of South Africa to the cornfields of Heartland, America. The battle for your soul has taken a decidedly physical, not fiscal, but physical turn. possessed presidential candidates, demon-haunted miscreants, spirit-infested parishioners. Exorcism just keeps appearing in the headlines. We've had demon-possessed presidential candidates. I missed that one. Who was that? Who did we have that was a demon-possessed presidential candidate? Hillary? Well, I don't think she's possessed. I think she's just an evil person. Well, I know I've said that something must have happened to Paul Ryan, because he definitely, on occasion, when he first took over as Speaker of the House, he looked like he was, possessed or something, because he was just looked like he was out of it. But a so-called wave of drug-related satanic killings sweeping Mexico, with the alleged intentions of turning the victims into vampires. I missed that one too. What is all this evilry that we have going? Well, I mean, I know we have people taking this drug called bath salts, and they're turning into zombie-like people, creatures that try to eat other people. But evidently, we've got somebody in maybe the drug cartel is trying to create Maybe what we have coming isn't a zombie apocalypse. Maybe it's more like Will Smith's Legend. It's going to be more like a vampire apocalypse. I don't know about you, but I think I'd rather deal with the zombies. They're slower moving. I know they can float, so going to an island might not keep you safe, but What I don't see in Walking Dead or any of the other zombie movies is skeletons walking. So if you're a zombie, do you stop decomposing? No, you continue decomposing, right? So at some point, a zombie stops being a zombie. Do they not? Has anybody ever asked that question? Do zombies continue? If they're undead, which means they're still dead, but they're animated dead. Does that mean that they keep decomposing? Isn't that the whole premise of it? This is why they look terrible, because they keep decomposing. Because otherwise, if you die and you become a zombie in a quick fashion, and if you stop decomposing, they wouldn't look the way many of them look, right? They wouldn't look dead. You look like you were just freshly dead if you were not old dead. So evidently you keep decomposing. Now, I don't know how long the process is supposed to take, but at some point you're going to get to the point of decomposition where you can no longer be viable as being able, unless you get a bunch of skeletons walking around. Then it's undead skeletons. It's probably a little bit easier to, because I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too deeply into it, I guess. I don't know. But at least the premise of vampires to me is a lot scarier than the premise of zombies. And somehow I think this whole notion that the sun would get rid of vampires, I don't think that's actually the case. I don't think that would be. They may be adverse to sunlight. Some people are. They may be more sensitive to sunlight, but I don't think sunlight's going to kill them. Anyway, there's a wave of drug-related satanic killings sweeping Mexico, with an alleged intention of turning the victims into vampires. A confessed killer in Cape Town is appealing for an exorcism as part of his sentencing to expel the demonic forces that made him behead his 15-year-old victim and sell his body parts to a traditional healer. How did we miss all these headlines? I know I'm not looking for gruesome stuff. Maybe that's what I need to. Maybe I need to use that filter in my news feed. Gruesome. Would that come up? I wonder. Late last year, staff in a German hotel were stunned to find a 41-year-old mother beaten to death by her South Korean family, whose ages were between the ages of 44 and 15. In an effort to drive out the devil. So South Korean family, I'm guessing that the 44-year-old was the husband in this particular case. So this is nightmarish, folks. Nightmarish. This world is losing its collective mind. Really, we are. I mean, it's just. We're starting. Are we seeing? Are there television programs about exorcism? Doing exorcism? I don't. And there's all kinds of other terrible stuff going on out there. But you're decapitating and dehanding, mutilating statues of Mary. At the same time, we have this consistent news feed of horrific stories that even on the surface, even if you dig into them a little bit, they seem to be demonic. So if you're going to go into this whole notion of exorcism, I can see why some people might think so, because you would not like to think. Some people just cannot handle thinking and believing that mankind himself, all by himself, is capable of such horrific evil that they have to be possessed. You do realize that there are people that believe Hitler was possessed. Yeah, because there are some people that just simply believe that human beings cannot naturally be that evil, that they have to be possessed by an evil source or evil being. And that there are people that believe Hitler was possessed. I don't know. Maybe the Pope should have exorcised them. Then we wouldn't have gone through some of that. There is something new that is heading to the shores of America. Well, it's already here, but it seems to be gaining popularity in places like Australia and Great Britain. And it's heading here, West Coast and East Coast, not so much the Middle Coast. Middle Coast meaning flyover country. But be on the lookout for something called chemsex parties. It's an alarming trend for drug-fueled group sex. And it's called chemsex. And it's as you guessed it, it hits the it's hitting the extreme nightlife scene first. But it's growing beyond that, according to this story. But it's starting in, of course, the homosexual scene, and as well as the swinger scene. Now, the swinger scene is very big on the central east. I think it's called Central East Coast, like New Jersey. I guess there's a lot of swingers in New Jersey. Really? What's up with that? Another reason not to go to New Jersey. But and of course the West Coast, the gay scene in the West Coast, the swinger scene on the East Coast. Who the hell knows what's going on down in Florida? But yeah, so they're using chemicals, drugs. So they're going beyond poppers, and it's, I guess it's to get additional. Do you even remember it? Whatever happened to just drinking alcohol? Seriously, this world is going a little bit nutso, because it used to be just, alcohol used to be the big thing, right? And now it's not. It's, you got to have other stuff in there, I suppose. I'm one of those people that's adverse to even trying anything totally, even slightly damaging to the body. I don't want to. No. But anyway, it's this, and I guess they're making a movie about it. Can you believe they're making a movie about it too? Of course. Yeah, it's great. Why not? Hey, why not? Movies tell the truth, don't they? Yes, that's what some people think.
Hey folks, if you're anything like me, you spend a lot of time taking photos with your mobile